Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Netters Network Thursday Things. And tonight we have a very, very special guest host. But we'll get to that in just a moment. First, let me introduce to you the love of my life. You all know him as that guy at the end of the bar, Kartan the Klingon Cleric, and Friday Night Last Call. How you doing, Troy, and what you sipping on?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm just having a Diet Cherry Coke, but yeah, I'm looking forward to having a drink tomorrow night because boy, what a week. Let me tell you.
Yeah, wait. I can't talk today. I'm waiting for when you can make me my margarita that I've asked for.
That will be next week. Yes.
Promise.
Promise.
Okay. I want my margarita. Will you do crushed ice?
Yes, for yours, I will do crushed ice. I'm not going to do crushed ice.
They taste better with crushed ice, I think.
Yeah, I know. I'm more an on the rocks kind of guy.
Well, alrighty then. And without further ado, our guest host for this evening, our not guest host, our subject matter. What is it?
Guest? Just guest.
Our guest for tonight. Whoop, I just knocked out my earphone. Hold on. I got too excited.
There you go.
Our guest for tonight, our beloved AJ Boomer. How you doing tonight, sweetie? And what are you sipping on?
I'm doing well. I have a Coca-Cola Classic. Keeping it kind of basic tonight.
There you go. I am really excited too. Really glad to get this opportunity with the Age of Boomer. I really like your show, that Geeky Geezers. You got this really cool guest host on there. I really like him.
For me.
It's weird. People are going to be listening to this and going to say this is just Geeky Geezers or Friday Night Last Call. But,
right. Well, I put out I put out the stream on Twitter, and I said, join me on Netters Network as we sit down with Agent Boomer. It's kind of like Last Call a night early.
We don't have
What just happened?
What are you gonna do? But you know what we really ought to do, Netter? We should say hi to the chat.
Yes, and I would appreciate if you could read off the people's names because my contact lens wants to be weird and I can only see half the time.
Well, that works out perfectly because I just went back to the YouTube screen and I wanted to.
I know the first was deleted scenes.
First one was deleted scenes. He went away and then he came back again because he's awesome that way.
Stay away.
Well, he's probably pulling double duty tonight, but he is dropping all the links because he is awesome. Oh, and I said duty. And then Netters Network, I love you too, sweetie. And then let's see here.
It's that last call guy.
Yeah, I'm saying hi to everybody. And then, of course, Big Al. Hello, all. Have a great stream, delving into the enigma that is Agent Boomer.
You missed D. Pensick.
The Enigma.
Yes, an enigma wrapped in a poser, wrapped in a quandary.
In a what?
I don't know. And then
you call me a poser?
Yes, you are a poser.
And hi, D. Pensick. How you doing tonight, sweetie?
And Evelyn Hampton. Good evening, everyone. Looking forward to hanging out with you really soon.
I see DJ Ronnie G.
Big Al says he can barely hear, so make sure you speak up, Netter.
I'm talking as loud as I can without shouting.
And Leia Rose. Oh, always good to see you. Always good to see you.
As well as Lester San Jose. How you doing, sweetie?
Hey, Lester. And I think that catches us up, at least for now.
Yeah. So my contact will let me see clearly, and then I blink, and suddenly I can't see anything. Then I blink again, and I can see clearly. So, whatever. So if there's anything that needs to be read, Troy, you're my
I'll
eyes
be
tonight.
doing the reading, yes. You be doing the interviewing.
Yes, I will, if I can even read my notes. So, Boomer, on
Yes.
YouTube, I'm seeing you as a white circle, so you might want to...
Me as a white circle. That's weird. I'm seeing Troy. I'm seeing Troy as a white circle.
Troy. Never mind. I see my tractor.
Oh, here. I'll change my tractor, and Troy, you change your
let me
thing.
change mine, too.
It's like I thought I had you were on the bottom, so I was like, oh. No.
I have two tractors.
She thinks your tractor's sexy. There you go, sweetie. I can see you now.
Okay, good.
So, Netter, ask me a question.
Alrighty then. The standard questions I start off with is, how did you get started, and what made you want to start a channel?
Well, it was a bit of a prodding from your better half, or your yeah, we'll say
other
that.
half.
Okay. And he wanted to get into doing more weekly coverage of the quote unquote geek news, and we started out every other week, and then we ended up going weekly. And I kept thinking, I don't know how long I'll be able to keep this up. And of course, I want to say almost 3 years later?
Gosh,
Something
yeah,
like that,
good.
yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Holy
I've been
crap.
on YouTube. I used to be a lurker. I was just a guy that commented in the chat, throwing zingers out. I didn't usually come on, do my own streams, but I don't know. It was funny that first stream. I was very. How can I put this? I was I don't want to say nervous, but I wasn't knowing the cues of when to speak and when not to speak and whatnot. And I remember that. It was I think Wolf10 was on our first stream, wasn't he? I think we were on with him.
It might have been, yeah.
Yes,
I haven't
yes.
seen him in a while either. So,
Yeah.
Wolfie, if you're lurking out there, hi, sweetie.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think, though. I remember when we first started Geeky Geezers, though, it was all about. I remember a lot of Warner Brothers bashing early on.
Well,
You
yeah,
remember that?
because that was fresh off the. We were right square in the middle of the whole Snyderverse thing, and I guess we were pretty prophetic about it because not only were we really kind of. We were down on it, but we were also saying that, even if you're not a big fan of DC, they're not doing a very good job. They're not doing anything to differentiate themselves. And they're coming up short by comparison to how Marvel was doing at the time. And then sure enough, there were just not enough Snyder fans to keep the thing going. So, and I think that's become a trend with us. We make predictions and kind of shoot from the hip and talk about what our gut says, and they end up panning out eventually.
It took forever for a lot of these predictions to come out, though, because, well, think about it. The movies like Indy 5 was announced a while ago. I don't think
Disney Brothers. He's kind of complaining a few things there, but I agree with him.
I was not expecting it to be the bomb that it ended up being, though. The Flash, I figured, was going to be a train wreck, especially after Ezra Miller. They got him on video choking that woman. I think that happened well before I even started streaming myself. That video was circulating.
But I think it's like we talked about on Sunday. I feel like there was a bunch of factors that played into it, and I think people forget the whole Johnny Depp angle and whatnot. And people were ticked that that Warner Brothers said they weren't going to work with Johnny Depp anymore and replaced him in Fantastic Beasts, but they kept Ezra Miller, and then that tanked and. The fans basically said, and we're not going to go see Flash either. And guess what? They didn't go see Flash either.
That was a problem. The whole Amber Heard, well, I can say her name now, right?
I think so.
Okay. That whole trial before that happened, the accusations. And I did remember at the time, J.K. Rowling was on Depp's side in that matter, which I thought was interesting. She could have jumped on board the whole, I guess, the whole movement of going after certain actors, but she believed Johnny Depp. She thought the accusations were false. Eventually, though, I guess it was out of her hands, though, the casting choices, though. But she does hold a lot of clout with how people use her licenses, though. But I guess that was one thing she couldn't pull off because she was. I got the impression she was loyal to him. So whatever, I may have disagreed with her issues before, but I respected her for the fact that she was still loyal to Johnny Depp when everybody else was attacking him. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think anybody who was reasonably minded, and I think the reasonable people go into all of these cases with, okay, you've made an accusation, but I want to see the evidence. And then when it plays out in court, the people that actually paid attention to what happened in court were like, okay, you're not making a great case here. In fact, she said stuff that really kind of proved Johnny's point in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I think that still played in, and I don't hear enough people talking about it, and that's why I say, about Geeky Geezers, we may bring you some of the same news other outlets are bringing you, but we're probably going to bring you a very different perspective, and I think that's been bearing out. Real quick, we better say hi to Lady Mist. She's dropping Netter the blue flowers and hearts and
Hi,
encouraging
Pops. How
you.
you doing, sweetie?
Pops on Pop Culture.
Yeah, I know, Pops. It's like I'm trying to talk as loud as I can.
I can't get the mic any closer to her because she's got nowhere on her desk to put the mic, so we're kind of stuck here.
Is that a little bit better? So let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Boomer.
Yes.
Geeky Geezer's name. Didn't some drop dead gorgeous hostess come up with that?
That was Netter who came up with that.
That's true. That's right.
We were trying to come up with a name for the show when we were renaming it, and I remembered someone in the chat suggested Boomer and Boozer, and you said no way, that's not gonna happen.
That's funny. Yeah.
And I was like, and then you came up with Geeky Geezers, and I'm thinking, yeah, that works. And it kind of went with, were we using the Saffler and Waldorf yet when we came up with that, or were we using that before the title?
I think that came directly as a result of it being
right.
Yeah.
And I figure we haven't gotten attacked yet for using those images. If not, we'll have to come up with something else. But.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Oh, we're gonna, don't ever know. So now, how did you come up with the name Aged Boomer?
Okay, Aged Boomer comes from, I guess, a meme. They call them Bojacks, and me being older, I don't quite get the humor of the younger kids. But one of the things with it's a phrase called the 30-year-old boomer, and one of the things the 30-year-old boomer would say was, "Quake was a good game," and that was one of his catchphrases. Like the young kids don't know what he's talking about. Forgive me if I'm butchering this and I'm not getting the joke here, but I think that's what the joke is. And then I was thinking at the time, well, Quake was a good game. I like Quake. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to embrace it. And I figured Aged Boomer, because I guess there's something on YouTube where they say, like, when you come up with your name, if you come up with a name that's already kind of embarrassing, they don't have anything to attack you with. You know?
Well, and that's always been true about any kind of self-deprecating humor. That's true. But no, I get exactly where you're coming from. I used to always make the joke, "Hey, did you hear Paul McCartney was in a band before Wings?" And everyone used to laugh. Now the kids are like, "What's Wings?"
What's Paul McCartney?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, or they'll be like, "The Beatles? What's the Beatles?"
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
that's
me feel
sad.
old.
That is really, really sad.
He was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Was he in the fifth one?
Was he?
Paul McCartney showed up on one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Yeah, I think he was in the last one. Yes,
okay.
It was funny.
For you.
He was like what I don't know if he was in the prison cell with Johnny Depp in a scene or something. I don't know. It was something like that. You know?
That is so funny. That's cool.
So now
but
what made you choose a guy in a tractor?
Yeah.
It's another part of the of the meme or the Wojak, I should say, of the 30-year-old boomer, of the guy on his lawnmower. He's usually drinking a Monster Energy drink and he's blasting AC/DC. I've seen some cartoons where he runs over his kid's Nintendo Switch or something. And like he always has to mow at 6 a.m. blasting AC/DC and waking up his son that's not working or something. It's, I don't know. That's about as far as I get. But it's the John Deere tractor thing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, Pop says Paul McCartney was a pirate in jail.
I remember now. That wasn't bad. The last one. I think people attacked it, but I thought it was still fun. Pirates of the Caribbean.
DJ Ronnie G says Beatles. Oh, that boy band. Never thought about it that way before. They were. If you watch the documentary Hard Day's Night by director Richard Lester of Superman fame, you see the women going nuts for the Beatles. It's Beatles mania. Yep.
In fact, Richard Lester, while I do have some trepidations about what he did to those later Superman movies, he is credited as the inventor as the creator of the music video.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was interesting.
I can kind of see that. And you know what? I look at Lester the same way I look at what's his name? The one that put the nipples on Batman. You know who I mean.
Joel Schumacher.
Joel
He's
Schumacher.
good at some things. Yeah, Lost Boys was brilliant.
Exactly.
Yes.
And at least Joel Schumacher realized he screwed up. But ever since then, not only do I give him props for saying, I'm sorry if you didn't like it, he did what he was told to do. It wasn't really him.
Mm-hmm.
He was executing the plan that Warner Brothers, kind of hoisted on him.
We don't get that from directors anymore, them admitting when they made a mistake and things like that, creatives. Now it's on defensive all the time, or they just don't talk, or they just keep silent.
I think it takes a degree of security in yourself, right? I mean, you would never have a Francis Ford Coppola, letting anyone give him any grief. And he certainly wouldn't, snap at people online about it because he doesn't give a flying F, right? People that are secure enough in their skins don't need to do that kind of thing. And I feel like someone like Joel Schumacher, he had that kind of security about himself, but I feel like he didn't have the security about Batman going into the thing. I think he executed what he was told to do, and it wasn't until after the fact he looks back at it and goes, "Oh yeah, no," you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I think that's not self-deprecation. That's just an honesty that people respect.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it would be the same thing if I listened to one of my streams and heard myself singing and go, "Oh my gosh." It's just me being honest, right?
Yeah, well, I've argued, like when you think you've written something brilliant, that's usually when it's trash. When you think you've written trash, that's when it's usually brilliant. That's usually how it works.
Yeah, I guess it's that way, yeah.
I want to say hello to longest running superhero RPG on Earth. Says I'll be in and out as I set up my Rumble channel.
Good
Ooh,
on
good
you,
man.
mate. I'm
Good on
so
you.
glad. I am really encouraging Did you
Tell the
actually,
story.
Boomer? This is
Tell the story. What?
Yeah, Boomer. You probably haven't heard this yet, but
What?
So I'm going through my morning routine, and one of the things I do is I open up Twitter, check my Twitter messages, so on and so forth. Check my email, and I get a message from YouTube that my membership to Fat Steven has been canceled because his membership has been put on pause. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I immediately look, and he's live, and all the things are going, what happened? My membership got canceled. He goes, yeah, they took my monetization away. They told him that it was because of, see if I can get the phrase correct, something like reuse of material or something like that.
Oh, give me a break.
Is what you told me.
And from what I got, the only thing I can figure is he's mostly a gaming channel. So I think it's because he's streaming games. And I'm like, well, if they got a problem with him, they're going to have a problem with all gamers, which means they're just trying to drive all the gamers off of YouTube. And they really can't afford that because people are kind of getting sick of YouTube's crap. So I said, screw it. We'll just watch you on oh yeah, and I meant to mention this. Because of that, I went ahead and I joined up with him over on his membership isn't through Rumble, it's through Locals. He's connected the two, and on Locals you have to join for 6 months.
Okay.
So I had to do a 6-month membership.
Gotcha.
Him over there.
It's too bad, but I like his streams. I wonder if it was a particular game. I know a lot of those VTubers, the Japanese women that look like the anime girls. I show you them. They got into playing a lot of the American video games, the Western developed video games, rather than the Japanese ones because I think their streams kept getting taken down. But the American companies let it alone, so that's how they started going on there. And I think since then, now the Japanese companies have eased up on who can use their content. I know some companies, they're very stringent about what you can show on YouTube. Like Nintendo, you have to be very careful with anything with Mario. You're in trouble.
go.
I think Zelda they're more lenient on for some reason, but Mario, you're going to get into trouble. I think you'll get
So now
unless you're a partner with them. Yeah.
There's a YouTuber that we watch all the time. Well, actually, two of them. There's Call Me Kevin and Gray Still Plays.
Yeah.
All they do is games.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't tell the gamers they can't show their games because that's what's bringing in the draw.
But honestly,
which is helping them to get
Yeah.
some revenue.
But I think a lot of people are doing exactly like Fat Steven. It's like, look, I can't trust this platform I'm on, so you guys have to support me either through Patreon or whatever other, off platform, because they don't put any restrictions on what you're doing or, how many people you have following you and all that kind of stuff.
And Dilly Scene says, I thought the payment just...
Hey, you're lucky, because I heard some people, theirs went through and then it was canceled. So it's like, he doesn't get the money. It's just BS. It really, really is. It's real crap. So, but anyway, I'm glad, because I know, Boomer, you've got Rumble automatically backing up. Netter does
Yes.
too. I do too. And I am encouraging everybody. I see Longest Running Superhero RPG just said, and that's what kind of got us on this topic. If you have a YouTube channel, you should also have a Rumble channel.
Just to back your stuff up,
Start a Rumble channel, and then you go into your settings, and you automatically... You synchronize it with your YouTube. So everything you do on YouTube gets automatically uploaded to Rumble the next day.
I've been doing it manually. I should try doing it that way.
Well,
okay.
Here's the thing. When I set it up, it went back only to a certain point. Everything before a certain point isn't even over there yet. I'm going to have to do those manually. But like tomorrow night, last call, by Saturday morning, last call will be on Rumble.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how many of my vids are on Rumble.
And I've actually accumulated some money over there at Rumble.
Yeah, Tom, how rich you are, sweetie.
3 cents.
Ooh, it went up. See, this is the thing I think is ridiculous. His channel made, for the first one, $10. Of that $10, he got a penny.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like, what?
that's about it. But when you consider how few people I have following me over there, that's actually kind of a surprise that there's anything. So I think that's going forward what I'm going to start doing, and I would just encourage all of you guys to do this. Whenever you do a live stream, whenever you put out a video or whatever, make sure you do, along with the make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and, share out the video, because it really helps the algorithm. Everybody does that. Make sure you add in and follow me on Rumble, because that's where you're going to find me if this platform blows up.
Yeah, I can't figure out where to go to see my
I'll
Rumble
show you later.
vids, but...
So you earned a penny. Could you actually collect that penny and put it in your bank account, but then have to declare it on your taxes, and then it becomes a big...
In theory, I could. The fact is, when I'm looking at 3 cents sitting there in my little account on Rumble, it's like, I think it would cost more money just to do the transfer than is actually there.
You could leave it in there for a couple hundred years. You might have it. Maybe it
compounded interest. Yeah, I might be able to buy a soda someday, but not with inflation the way it is. If you double that 3 cents daily, you'll be rich in less than a year. Yeah, if I could figure out how to do that, no doubt about it. But
yeah, it's like if you take a penny a day, each day double it for even a month.
Yeah, it gets
like
you get money fast. Yeah, that's how. That's how compounded.
You might be onto something, honey.
I know.
Isn't that some old myth about the game of chess and a Chinese emperor or something, where he says, "No, I just want you to give me double for each space on the board and keep doubling it up." And then, then the emperor executes him after. I don't know if that's a true thing, because he's like, "No."
Think of the what was it? Was it Bugs Bunny? Here's one for you, one for me. 2 for you, 1, 2 for me.
Yeah.
I remember that as a kid, and you're like, he's pulling a fast one.
Yeah. Well,
I used to love those.
Ones, he's pulling a fast one, but you're like, wait a minute, what did he do? And you have to watch it over and over and over again and go, oh, I get it now,
I
Duck
used
season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, rabbit season, duck season. Shoot me now.
yes. I used to love those old Looney Tunes cartoons. I remember one where instead of Elmer Fudd, I guess hunting Bugs Bunny, he just picks them up at a pet store and brings them to his house, and he's like, and he sticks him in a cage outside, and he's all angry, and he gives him a big bowl full of vegetables like carrots and cabbages, and he's like, "What's this? You expect me to eat this? I'll starve first before I eat this." And he's eating the stuff as he says, "I'll starve."
Yeah,
I tell you,
exactly,
and he's so angry.
exactly, right.
And then he gets angry and he sneaks into the house and he's taking a shower and I think he gets out and Elmer Fudd opens up the door and he says, "Shut that door! You want me to freeze to death?" And Elmer Fudd shuts it. He's all embarrassed and it's like, "Wait, why is he in the house?" You understand? He's the rabbit. It's just...
You know what? So because we got CK asking this question, Netter did too. Maybe I'll just do a video showing people how to do that, how to back up to.
I know you
Rumble.
showed me how to back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the issue. When I go to Rumble, I can't see any of my content. I don't know where to go to look for
I'll
that.
walk you through all that.
If you're going to do a video on it, do a video on how to upload your stuff to Rumble, and then also show how to find it if you go back to it, because it's shown me like a bunch of other streams and vids and things that have nothing to do with my channel. Yep. It's kind of like, thought you might like this. It's like, no, I actually don't.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and if that doesn't work, do 10 a day.
Right, there you go. Absolutely. Is that what you were doing? You do 10 a day and upload them?
I don't normally, but I was behind, so I did I think I was like 10, or I did like 5 one day and then 5 another night, and just I don't know. I don't know if you'll be penalized if you upload 100 videos at once or not. I don't know how Rumble's rules are, but
oh yeah, I have no idea, but
they've been friendly to me so far. They seem to be quote unquote monetizing the videos more. Some of them they didn't monetize. Some of the earlier ones, I don't know what we were saying on them.
I know we've gotten off topic, but one more thing about Rumble, real quick. If you have not yet set up your Rumble page or account or whatever, at the current time, you cannot. Once you set up your username, you cannot change it. So, like for example, if JPRPH1, if you go in and you set yourself up as JPRPH1, or you set it up under your name or whatever, you can't then change it. So, if it's different from what's on YouTube, people might not make the connection. I did reach out to Rumble just today, and they said that option is to change. Like right now, I come up as R Flatstone in chat, but my channel, of course, is Last Call with Troy Pacelli. They said going forward, you will be able to comment on videos as your channel, so that will be happening soon. So anyway, bottom line is there's a lot of things that you can do on YouTube that you can't do on Rumble. But Rumble is working to improve and get those features available for
that's
you.
Good.
Yes. They really are right now the second best to YouTube, but YouTube has a huge running lead on them. So,
but there is one advantage Rumble has now. I do think that they are now available on streaming devices finally, so that's good.
Yep.
Because
and
a lot of people they don't
with locals, so that's also a good thing too.
Because they don't know, you don't always. A lot of people watch YouTube. They tend to watch it on their TV. You know, they may just use it like any other app.
Yep.
Maybe I'm old fashioned saying TV. I don't know if the kids have TVs anymore. But
well, and like I told you, Boomer, we have I have my computer set up as a 2-monitor thing, and my second monitor is our big screen TV. So literally anything I can play on a computer screen, I can play on the TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we first started doing Star Trek Online, the big screen, it's like, so he could see all the action and all that. He was totally psyched to be able to do that.
It really is kind of cool, because you can almost create, when you're in, you're doing the ship combat and stuff, it's not quite a first-person kind of concept, but it's kind of got that feel a little bit. So
because the screen is so darn big.
Yeah. Exactly.
Is the crystalline entity? Does the crystalline entity show up on Star Trek Online?
There is a mission that you can do
Huh.
that is fighting the crystalline entity. But the problem is, you're not only fighting the crystalline entity, but the what's it called? The Tholians have kind of allied themselves with the crystalline entity because they think it's some sort of a god or something like that. So you're also fighting the Tholians as well.
I remember that episode where they were finally almost starting to communicate with the crystalline entity, and that woman
Yeah.
did that thing that destroyed it, and Picard was furious. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Well,
I
but
don't.
you kind of
Yeah.
understand why, because it wiped out the outpost and killed her son. So it was like a revenge thing.
Yeah, but she's going to jail. The Federation does have jails, people.
Yes. Well,
It's
they have re-education facilities.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
that sounds worse.
It is. It kind of is. But we know this from the original series, right? It was the Dagger of the Mind, right, where they go to the prison world where they have a machine that's kind of like
Torture
rewriting
device?
people's brains or whatever. It's a little bit dystopian, and so this whole idea that there is some kind of dark elements lying under the Federation, that kind of does go back to the original series, But
Interesting.
but and that's actually a great pivot point to bring us back on topic. So that is one of the things that I think you and I very much had in common when we started working together, was dealing with these franchises that are, I think I'm going to be very positive and say they're evolving over time, but they're evolving in a very dark, depressing,
Don't like it.
direction. Right. We said that, like you were talking about with Warner Brothers and the superheroes and the Snyderverse and everything, but we're seeing it in everything.
Everything got hit. I don't know which one wounded you the most. For me, it was Doctor Who. That one, I noticed a steady decline, but really, when Whitaker was announced, I knew that was the end. And of course, that was proven with the Timeless Child later on. But
Well, I'll tell you, I tend to err on the side of hopefulness. So when I heard that Jodie Whittaker was going to be a female doctor, I was like, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And then they did the promo where it was the glass ceiling.
yes.
And I'm like, that's it. I'm out.
When was Doctor Who ever sexist? I'm sorry.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
This is
always,
ridiculous.
It was always, cutting edge. I mean, I think back to
It was begun by a female producer, which was a rarity back then. But the guy picked the female producers at the time.
funny you use that term rarity because it was Verity Lambert. Yeah. And it was and I mean, for most of us in the U.S., first doctor that we think of is Tom Baker, right? And
He was my first doctor.
exactly, Sarah Jane Smith, right?
Yeah.
Who was, second wave feminist all the way, but in that kind of way where she kind of pushed the kind of annoy you, and then the doctor would just start sparring with her, and there was that meet in the middle kind of element to it.
And we loved Sarah Jane, especially by
Yes!
the end. Yeah,
Yes,
I
even
mean,
if
yeah.
she said something abrasive that you disagreed with, it's like, but I love her, As a big Transformers fan, we did pretty good for a long time as far as political correctness, but this year we got our first they-them character.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that. Took the wind out of my sails. But it is for everybody. I mean, so where's the silver lining, right? We live in a post-Bud Light era, right? Where companies are Heinerscheiding themselves out of business, right? You see what's happened to Bud Light, to Target, Disney, right? The fans, the consumers are turning on these companies and saying enough is enough. Do whatever you want, but you're going to do it without me and without my money.
Well, it's not like people have money to burn these days anyway. So
Well,
it's
and they're looking at movies and TV shows and toys and whatnot and going, I am not going to spend my money on this stuff that's going to poison my kids' brains. I'm just not doing it. So I'm just going to save my money. No problem. Although, again, we live in an era where we have physical media, where we really can share our great memories with our kids. We can show them the original Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who. We have them all on DVD. We can pass it on to the next generation and go, yeah, Star Wars, it was 6 movies and all these books. And that's it. That's all there is. You make your own stories now, kid. Let me teach you about role-playing games.
Yeah, we'll be talking about those a bit on Sunday, but
I like the retro games. There's a site that Troy introduced me to where you could play a bunch of retro games. Like you can play Space Invaders and Centipede and Galaxia.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones.
Through a browser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Adega, how you doing, my friend?
Adega.
Dr. Adega Outlaw, how are you, my friend? So good to see you.
I gotta stop and say hi.
But yeah, and of course, Boomer, of course, is the gamer among us, so we got to make sure we share those links with them.
I still have it open because I play it every once.
Because you were playing a game, right?
Well, what's interesting you bring up me being a gamer. Gamers come in various shapes and sizes. So I'm mainly like...
Yeah, I'm kind of plus size myself.
Well, if anyone's interested in playing the retro games, I just put the link in the chat.
Yeah.
And you can play all sorts of retro games. So it's Pac-Man. Let's see. They've got a couple games I've never heard of. 1942, 1943.
Those are Capcom shooters based on World War II. Yeah,
there you go.
They got all the Pac-Man games. So Pac-Man, Mrs. Pac-Man, Super Pac-Man, Junior Pac-Man.
For all those that have the Pac-Man fever.
Yes. That wonderful song.
Yes.
Arkanoid, Baseball Stars, Burger Time, Castlevania, Commando.
What?
Defender, Dig Dug, Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3, Double Dragon, Excite Bike, Frogger.
No Goat Simulator, though.
No. In the G's, we've got Galaga, Gauntlet, Gunsmoke.
Gauntlet,
Gyrus?
yes.
Then you got Joust, Jungle Hunt, Kung Fu, Millipede, Paperboy, Pitfall, Phoenix, Pole Position, Popeye, Puzzle Bobble, Qbert.
Yes. I love Puzzle Bobble.
You know these games.
Yes.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, you can actually do Sonic on this one. I haven't gotten that far down the list yet. Space Invaders, Street Fighter, Super Pitfall, Tapper, Tecmo Super Bowl, Time Pilot, and Zexon. And then there's a thing underneath that says plus hundreds more. I'm not about to read out 100 more.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting. So I guess you play these in a browser. Now,
yes.
I'm not saying that these are up here, quote unquote. Well, we won't get into legal things.
Right.
Because that's a lot of different things. But it is interesting that someone's going to the effort to put it on browser. Of course, we're going to talk about that on Sunday, too, about how a lot of retro games are disappearing. So, give us a legitimate way to get them or find other means. That's all I'm going to say. Because these things do need to survive.
Which is also why, Greg over at Fanzine just did one about,
Pin that to the top,
saving physical media and keeping it alive, and how really, as things are taken off the market, put on stream, altered and changed forever. We've got to value the physical medias that we have, and if it doesn't exist, make it exist. Create your own physical media.
It's a shame because there are some companies out there. I know Evercade does like these little compilation cartridges you can buy, which I don't have one of these yet. I know they're making a Duke Nukem console in the fall, though, where you can like play the old Duke Nukem games. It's like Duke Nukem themed, and like you could play other games on there too. But
Nukem, but
that's a first person shooter, right?
If my memory serves, it was the first person shooter I ever played where you could jump and look around all directions. I remember back in the day. Now, I'm not saying it was the first game that did that, but it was the first one I played that did that. And he had these one-liners.
Oh, right. It was still that weird kind of. I don't want to call it forced perspective, but the depth perception was off because it was just things getting bigger. It wasn't really anything like
tight corridors on city streets, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But for the time, it was amazing.
Yeah,
and you could blow up toilets. I used to like doing that, but
okay, yeah.
Whatever floats your boat, dude.
But you were asking what Puzzle Bobble was. That is a puzzle version, a puzzle game using the characters from the game Bubble Bobble.
Oh.
I don't know if you know what Bubble Bobble is.
No, I don't know what that is.
Bubble Bobble was made by Taito, the same company that made Space Invaders. This Bubble Bobble was one of their big games that came out later on.
Okay.
You could play these two dinosaurs, and you would throw bubbles at things trying to attack you, and then you could jump on the bubbles to get to higher levels. It was this weird thing. And the two dinosaurs were named Bub and Bob.
Okay. Well, I did pin the link to the top of the chat, so anyone that is interested in that, it's handy right there at the top. Check it out if you like those old-timey games that we used to play back when I was a youngin'. And if you've never heard of these games, check them out because they are fun.
Yeah, they're kind of fun.
You guys should really check out the documentary The King of Kong, also known as A Fistful of Quarters. It's a documentary about the two men trying to vie for the Donkey Kong High Score Championship, and it had Steve Wiebe versus Billy Mitchell, and Billy Mitchell was like he's known throughout the world as the Pac-Man champion, and he was also making the claim that he's the Donkey Kong champion. But then this mild-mannered school teacher from the Midwest says, "No, I'm the Donkey Kong champion," and it's all about them going head to head, and it's all real life, it's all real people, and it's ridiculous. And go ahead.
Was that the Pac-Man champion that's been all embroiled in this cheating scandal?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Party wants to say, y'all are just jealous of his success. He's the best, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Abigail saw King of Kong. Yes, it's a fun little documentary, and it goes back to the early '80s, where it was taking place in the time it was being shot in, which was like the aughts. But all these guys were the big gamers in the old days of the arcade. So you had one guy that was obsessed with Missile Command, and apparently the Cubert champion was an old lady, which I thought was interesting. She's the one that held the score for Cubert, which I thought was interesting. And it's
the hang of that. I kept falling off the side.
The problem was, and this was the same problem with Cubert, and Zaxxon was another one that you just mentioned. It was this very early era of trying to do 3 dimensions in 2 dimensions, and it was very difficult because you were dealing with diagonals. So your depth perception was way off. It was frustrating, to be honest with you.
I remember I had Cubert on the old Nintendo, and when you would start the game, they would give you 2 control schemes. One, because the Nintendo D-pad was across, so it kind of made it difficult when you were trying to go diagonally. So it said, well, look, we can do it so hitting up makes them go this way and hitting this or you could just try doing it diagonally like you would if you had a joystick. So they gave you one or the 2 options, so it was interesting. Actually, you know what it was? It was if you tilted the cross sideways, it would be more angular. Do you understand? If you would move your controller, and they based it on that if you wanted to play it in that control scheme. It was interesting.
Longest running superhero says, my son talks about King of Kong every now and then. He's super into video games. Then he would like the site where he can play the games on a browser.
Some browser out there had all the 2600 games. I remember that was a thing for a while, and I think I was testing out the 2600 version of Ms. Pac-Man because that apparently was a pretty good port of Ms. Pac-Man, considering the limitations of the hardware. But
the only thing I don't like about playing in my browser is unless I can figure out a way to connect a joystick to my laptop, trying to do the up, down, left, right arrows when you're trying to do something like Pac-Man or something.
Right.
It's like, it makes me crazy because it's like I can't move fast enough, and that's like, wait, I want to go up. Okay, wait, I want to go sideways, which and then I get confused and then I get et.
Right.
Huh.
But it's like when I had my joystick, when I used to play the games for the Atari system and all that,
Right.
I had the system where my thumb would be on top of the joystick, so I was holding it from underneath, and it was just moving my thumb around, and I could move really, really fast and get to where I needed to go. And it's like, so I ruled at that, but on a keyboard I suck.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, Pac-Man I had trouble with, but
Well, it's like I knew like the first, I think it was 3 levels. I memorized
right.
the routine, and then after that it was just kind of like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing now.
From what I understand from the back then, you actually had to buy books in order to get tips on how to beat some of these games.
They would sell books on the stuff. I remembered.
Exactly, and the thing with Pac-Man was up to a certain number of levels. Yes, you could learn a pattern and get it every time. After that, there was randomization where you had to understand how each of the monsters moved and come up with strategies to deal with each one in turn.
Now, interestingly enough, I came across when I was cleaning our basement like 3 pretty good sized boxes of old PC games. So,
Yep.
if anyone is interested in old PC games, I'm actually going to end up putting them up either on, well, I'm going to put them up on eBay. I'm probably also going to put them up on Facebook Marketplace. But if there's a particular one that you're interested in, DM me on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'll see if I've got that one, because I've got all kinds.
Yeah.
And
Are they in the boxes and everything?
most of them have the boxes.
Cool,
There's
cool.
some that add up. Like when we first started getting them, it was kind of like, well, we don't need the boxes, so we put them
Right.
in an envelope to save space. So some of the ones I have don't have the box, but a lot of the other ones do. So it's like, yeah, I've got a lot of the games, and I'm selling them because it's like, I mean, I do have an old computer I can play them on. I just don't have time. So I figured might as well sell them to somebody who would enjoy playing these and, you know, and wants them.
Yeah.
I mean, I even got Leisure Suit Larry, so.
Leisure Suit Larry?
Oh, I remember Leisure. I never played it. I always heard kids talk about that one. That's the thing back then when you were a kid, you would hear about things on the school bus and stuff, you know, like I remember one kid on the school bus kept saying how I heard kids on the school bus talking about Faces of Death.
Yeah.
Which was this horrifying video that it was apparently real killings, which I think I found out later some of them were faked on it. Not that I want to be watching that anyway, because it's one thing if it's a movie, it's one thing if it's real life. I don't
own that one.
It's presented.
Yeah, you don't want to own that.
What I mean, on the one hand, you could say it's better, but it made it so much worse because it was presented in like a documentary kind of format.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of it was clearly staged. And I mean, it's the kind of thing where if you think it through, it's like, well, it's the same thing I say about TikTok videos and whatnot, where the conceit of the video is that it's like candid video or whatever, and it's like, who's holding the camera? They see the person holding the camera. This is staged. You know, any reasonable person knows it. It's the same kind of thing with the Faces of Death. I've seen it. I had heard all the rumors too.
Huh.
And then when I was in college, I was working at a video store, and they had it, and I'm like, I got to check this thing out. And I was like, yeah, this isn't quite what, you know, the legend held it up to be, you know.
Then there are some really great older games, like I have Myst, I have Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale. In fact, I never even got around to playing Icewind Dale.
I heard that was good.
Yeah, it's a companion to Baldur's Gate, but you can play it separately, and I just never got around to playing it. But it's like, so that one's pretty much mint in package for that one. But it's like, you know, all these ones like Myst and all those, it's like where you actually have to go around and find puzzles to figure out how to get through this island that you're on to escape. I think it is for Myst. You have to escape the island, but you have to go through all these different puzzles and figure out where things are and how does this connect with this, and you'll get one piece and then realize the other piece you need is on the other side of the island, so you have to go back that way to get it. And yeah, it's like, and I've got ones like Asylum, you know,
Asylum.
Sanitarium.
Oh,
where
okay.
you're in a mental institution. You need to escape.
That sounds creepy.
Nanette and I together both played a lot of those kind of first person like point and click type games.
I miss those.
I know, right?
That was one thing I was always envious about PC gamers. They had access to a lot of these fancy adventure games that we couldn't get on console. I mean, sometimes you get a port once in a while,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they were a PC only domain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I even got some for the kids, like VeggieTales. I got some VeggieTale games.
I remember playing that
Yeah.
one. We talked about it one time. It was like you're playing out like first person in a horror film, like an 80s horror film. Dana Plato was one of the
Night Trap.
That's what it was. Yeah. You know it.
You can buy it remastered too, if you're so inclined. I remember Night Trap. I'd never played. All I know is that it's very that, what is it, late 80s, early 90s vibe going on with it.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate. We'll talk more about that on Sunday, I think.
Yeah, we'll do a
favorite game was
retrospective.
Drizzt, and you get all these things to attack
Yeah,
for you.
so-
I love that one.
So that was another thing about PC games. I don't know if this is true on console games. You'd have to tell me.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I know it's true because you in the older consoles, you had the what was that cheat code? The up down left right left.
Konami code.
The Konami code, right.
Yes.
Well, a lot of PC games had cheat codes too, or various ways to cheat the game, and in Baldur's Gate, there was. You'd go into the command prompt and you would type in Drizzt defense, and of course it's Drizzt, the famous dark
Right.
character.
Right.
But he was in the game. You could call him up to be a helper in a combat situation,
Huh.
and he had plot armor. He could not be killed. So if you called him up, assuming you could live long enough, like if you're fighting a dragon, the dragon might still kill you, but ultimately Drizzt would win.
And if you moved from like where you are on the screen, you move over like to the next section, it would follow you.
Yeah.
So you call up like 100 of these suckers.
Well, but that was the problem. If you called up a bunch of them, you could go Drizzt defense, and there was like multiple instances of Drizzt, which was great for fighting, like an army, right? The problem is on those old PCs, you have all these sprites on the screen and it just bogged down. And one time it was literally, it's like, this is gonna crash. I mean, we literally just walk away from the computer for an hour and just like 2 combat rounds had happened. It's like, oh my God, what have we done?
But it was an epic fight in the end.
It was an epic fight, yeah. Exactly.
Well, sounds fascinating.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Baldur's Gate on
Interesting
Sunday,
is
though.
games when we started out were like, Zork, where
Oh,
Yes.
you have to use your
Text
imagination and
adventures,
think
yeah.
about,
Yes.
okay, go north, go west, whatever, open the door, because you couldn't see anything. It was all words. So you had to think about where you're going, where you had been. You map things out. I mean, you'd actually be drawing out on paper.
Yeah.
Okay, the house is here. If I go to the left, there's the forest. If I go to the right, it's a mountain. I can't pass that way. If I go back the other way, I'm by a tree with a nest in it that I have to get the jeweled egg out of.
And it was really cool because there was a certain kind of immersion to it because it was taking place mostly in your imagination. But there was also a great deal of frustration because this was not any kind of artificial intelligence. It only understood certain pre-programmed prompts.
I remember.
And it would say something, and it would say, there is, a this here and there's a that there, and it would give you this whole description. And then you would say, okay, well, I want to pick up the such and such. Well, there is no such and such here. It's like you just said there was. But the reality is you have to understand it from a programming point of view.
So you just say
it wasn't entered as an interactive object. So despite the fact it was part of the description, the game does not recognize that as a...
So you do things like get all, and it would pick up everything.
It would
that
pick
they
up
could
everything that you could get.
Yeah, that you can get in the area.
Exactly.
Or sometimes you're like, go north. Are you sure? It's like, yeah.
Huh.
You can't go that way. Your way is blocked. And it's like, okay.
Which
go
became part of the
south.
mapping. You had to, you know. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I don't think I ever finished it. I got pretty far in it. I think Troy and I were both working on it, and we got pretty
really
far
close.
into it. Never
Then
finished
life
the game.
happened. Yeah. Then life happened.
My brother had a bunch of those, and I had a couple too, because I got a couple of the Infocom games for kids. You know what? I might save that for a good old days. We should do the text adventures. That would be a good thing, because we did an adventure game segment, but not the text adventures. Those are what predated. Because the trouble is they didn't have graphics.
Yeah.
The first adventure game I played with graphics was a game called Transylvania on the Atari 800 computer, and it was fairly basic for the time, and it still read like a text adventure, but you would have some graphical images. So like you'd see a werewolf show up at the top of the screen when there was a werewolf about to attack.
Cool.
You,
That's
you know,
cool.
That's
yeah.
neat.
But it was for the time it was fairly basic, but I could at least make out what the thing was supposed to be. Do you understand?
Yeah, exactly. This is interesting. CK says that stuff is in Ready Player One.
Yes.
The guy who wrote that book lives near me in Ashland, Ohio. So our town has been fixed up because he took all the money he made from Ready Player One to fix up the town.
Well, that was
For
nice.
instance, they just reopened the movie theater, and it had been closed ever since Superman Return came out.
Dang.
That did it. Close the theater now.
That's what did it, right? Exactly.
They saw Clark eating that burrito, and the audience said, "We're done with movies," and they never showed up again.
Right, exactly.
And then what was that game? I want to say it was like Dragon or something, where you had to go through a maze, but you could only lift one thing at a time, and you weren't even
Adventure.
lifting it.
That was on the
Yeah.
Atari
And you
2600.
had to push your sword along,
Yeah,
and you can only have one thing at a time.
yeah.
It's considered like the first precursor to what we would see in games like The Legend of Zelda later on.
Yes.
Yes. And it's interesting, if I ever get my PlayStation 4 hooked back up, I did get the recent Atari collection for it, and it's got a lot of stuff on there. In fact, you can get that on PC as well, and I'll be checking out some of those old Atari games on there.
Yeah.
And it's got arcade games, 2600 games, and also some 7800. Also, even up to the 7800, there's some games from that on there too. So
Yeah. So I guess that we should start wrapping it up. So the big question I have is,
yes.
what plans do you have for your channel going forward? Do you or where do you hope to be in a year, 2 years with your channel?
That's a good question, because honestly, since the hurricane, I feel like I've been just trying to keep it up and running.
Yeah.
I do want to get out there. One thing I do want to do is I want to start, putting my name out there more, even just by visiting other people's streams, doing more clip videos. I know I need to do more of those, and maybe placing more stakes in platforms like Rumble. I mean, Rumble's been very receptive to me. I mean, not that I'm knocking YouTube, this wonderful thing that we're broadcasting from right now, but
Right.
it's like, I'm also hoping that at some point, I don't know, maybe there'll be some management change up in the ranks up here.
Well,
I don't know.
I think what's going to end up happening is, let's play a game of what happens next. People are getting annoyed, so they go to Rumble. Rumble begins to improve, and you get actual, options. You get some actual competition. So YouTube's going to have to start improving if they want to stay in the game. When you're the only game in town, you can take advantage of people, but can't keep doing that forever.
Right?
Yeah. And it's weird though. Like I'll have some videos, live videos that will get like Monkey Geezers we did. It's 2.3 thousand views, which I think is pretty good, right? But I don't know if people are just popping on for a couple seconds, or if they're. I guess you could check that in the algorithm. But I'm trying to think what else. And I'm hoping. I'm going to say this: we are going to have a lot to cover probably going on, because unfortunately, I did want to say with my channel, I want to say I'm either, I guess I'm an amateur journalist or maybe a news analyst might be more thing. I'm analyzing the entertainment news, and I've been doing this for a few years now. And My big worry was never that all of entertainment is going to go woke and people are just going to enjoy the PC stuff and nothing's going to be good. My big worry was that the PC stuff's going to come out and nobody likes it. And eventually these companies are going to tumble. And in some ways they deserve it. But keep in mind that if a lot of these studios go under and Hollywood goes under, movies go under, we may not get them back.
Yeah.
I'd rather see, I mean, you remember back when we were not too happy with Disney, but then they did the first couple seasons of The Mandalorian. And I was hoping that what we might see over there was maybe some steady reform. I was originally hoping for that. Obviously, that didn't come to pass.
Right.
But I'd rather these companies reform themselves and just start and maybe look at the example Tom Cruise is setting this week and just put out movies people want to see.
Right.
I mean, it used to be Hollywood would do these issue movies like for Oscar season, but you're not going to be seeing that stuff in your your Terminator movie or your Batman movie coming out this summer. It's I don't know. It's like escapism isn't letting you escape anymore. So,
and that's just it. And there is still this conceit in the entertainment industry. We know what's good for you, and it's like, no, we know what we want, and if you want our money, you will give it to us,
And now we have a strike looming, so we'll have plenty to talk about there. So, in fact, the strike has probably already happened. I think.
Yeah, some are already on the picket line, but officially they're going on tomorrow morning.
Okay. And I don't know whose side I'm on in this fight. I have to figure it out.
It is nuanced, and so I definitely this is definitely one of those ones where I can say I definitely see both sides. Both sides need to meet in the middle because neither one is really, what I would call right.
Because I remember watching one YouTuber, and she was saying that, sometimes it's also the problem with the producers. She said that the writer of Toy Story 3 was originally being pegged to write to get involved with the new Star Wars trilogy, but he wanted to make it about further adventures of Han, Luke, and Leia, I guess as they're older, and
right.
And they put the kibosh on that and said, no, we want to do stuff with our new characters. And I think they just kept shopping around people to work for them until they found someone that would do what they wanted them to do. And I think that's one of the problems we have nowadays. So
right. Yeah. And the fact is, when you acquire, and this is the big difference that I've kind of pointed out to people. If you are George Lucas and you create something, look, it's really hard to argue, with what Lucas decides to do. Look, this is my story. You don't like it, don't come see it, But when you buy something as an investment, because you buy Lucasfilm and you want to make the money, right? It's a money-making machine. It's not about what you want. It's about what the fans want now,
Yeah.
And Disney has definitely learned that the hard way.
What do the fans want now? That's what I'm wondering, at least in Star Wars. I feel like they've been beaten around a lot, the past few years.
It's hard because we've given up. We know we're not going to ever get the things that we want. We want a certain respect. I mean, it starts there, Doomcock has an adage: without respect, we reject. And that's just it. We want respect. We want someone to treat us. I hate to say this, but we need someone to treat us the way what's his name? Coming out this weekend, Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise. The way he treats people.
Yes.
He's respectful and he's thankful and he's like, I want to give you the best product that I possibly can. He says that in interviews to the fans. He's not out there saying you're bad people and so forth.
Yeah.
Under the guidance of Generalissimo Fran Drescher, who knew? Yeah, I know. We'll be talking about that on Sunday for sure. So we're gonna we're gonna go on strike now for our pay. No.
Well, if she was out there doing that, that'd be one thing. I think she was vacationing. I think that's what they were saying. That a lot of the members were getting angry because she was out there vacationing, so they didn't wait for her to come back before they were going to decide what they were going to do.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about all that, but yeah. So this is the first thing we want. The second thing we want is the people that are making these films need to understand it as well as the fans do. I am not saying they need to be fans themselves, but they need to understand what kind of a story it is they're telling and tell that kind of story. And that means understanding the canon and the history that went before. Script Doctor talks about this a lot. You know, where you can't just throw it out because it's fiction and you can do whatever you want. No, that's not how storytelling works. You establish rules within your own universe. You need to follow those. You don't get to just throw them out and, rewrite them as you go.
It makes me very angry when they do that.
And unfortunately, what we're dealing with is writers that don't understand these very basic tenets of storytelling. And we'll get into that a little bit with the you think you deserve more money, but you're not that good. Your movies are not making any money.
They also don't follow continuity. So it's like, we established 2 movies ago this happened. Why are you saying now this didn't happen, or that this person is now a guy and
because
it was a girl?
Because it's like
before
pitch meeting. It's like, hey, shut up. That's why. And then continue on.
This is the sort of thing they'd make fun of in an Austin Powers movie. Like when you get Austin Powers 2 and his love interest, Elizabeth Hurley from the first one, Vanessa, she's a fembot and he has to destroy her. And then like he talks to Basil, oh yes, we knew all along. And you knew the whole point of that was it's a joke making fun of the fact that this franchise just did some crap continuity there, but that's the joke of that whole part.
That's the joke. Yes. You're not actually supposed to be doing that.
Yes.
And but no,
and we can talk about all of this on Geeky Geese.
Yeah, we'll talk
on Sunday. We'll do that.
But,
so Friday night, what's happening, sweetie?
Tomorrow night, over on my channel, last call with all these same people here. So basically, we can continue this tomorrow night. I have not set a topic, Boomer. So I'm thinking we might just do a Friday night free for all.
Okay.
And we can talk about some some portion of what we might be talking about on Sunday if we want to do a deeper dive on some of it. But the chat definitely will have a great deal of influence on that.
And he does have a drink already.
I already have a drink planned for tomorrow night, dedicated by one of the viewers who I will be dedicating the drink and a song to. And if you want to buy me a drink, the link will be in the chat tomorrow night. But that is tomorrow night.
Now, I have to tell you guys, ever since he started singing for songs, I feel like I've got a teenager in the house because I can hear him in my office.
I got to rehearse,
belting out songs. And it's like, oh my gosh, I married a teenager.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, turn the music down.
That's tomorrow night. Saturday, over on Big Al Presents, special guest from the chat, Evelyn Hampton. We will finally be watching Reptilicus. I will be hosting that.
I like that title.
Yeah, I will be hosting that on Cosme, so you can watch along with us, although it is available for free on YouTube as well. The only reason I'm going to post it on Cosme is because that makes it easier for us to all watch it together, and you don't have to worry about the possibility of a commercial if your ad blocker isn't working.
Now I know nothing about this movie, but I hear Reptilicus and I just think Godzilla.
It's kind of like that. Yeah, it's a European version of Godzilla, sort of. So that will be Saturday night.
And then Sunday
night will be first we will be Evelyn's saying Reptilicus is fun. That remains to be seen. We'll see. Yes, treat it like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Longest running superhero RPG says. At 8 o'clock. No, wait a minute. 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on Sunday over on Deleted Scenes. Unscripted. I don't know what the topic is, but if the link is up, I'm sure that Deleted Scenes will drop that link because that is where your Sunday night starts, because he is the official lead into Geeky Geezers, as we've been kind of talking a little bit about all night. 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern, over on this guy's channel, Aged Boomer. What are some of the things we'll be talking about on Sunday on Geeky Geezers?
Well, more fallout from Indy 5. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
I just sent you an article too about how many retro games are just vanishing, kind of like how old movies used to vanish, like the silent era disappearing. We're also going to talk about the Screen Actors Guild strike. We're going to be bringing that up as well. And I'm sure we got other stuff too, like something to do with bears, but we'll save that for Sunday. Oh no.
And then I don't know. Let us know, Stephen, if you have a other side of midnight this week. But that would normally be after Geeky Geezers, after midnight Eastern time. After 11 p.m. Central time on Sundays, over on Deleted Scenes again. Which brings us into the Monday through Wednesday stretch, which tends to be fairly open unless there's a Birdman sighting.
Not yet, but that'll be coming up in the future, but not this week. Not next week. I mean.
Okay, that's fair. Just keep him in your thoughts. He's still struggling with some back pain.
Yeah, but I think he's going to be getting it taken care of soon. So
good.
Keep him in your prayers, if you could. Mm-hmm.
And that brings us around to next Thursday, Netter. Who's your guest for next Thursday?
Next Thursday, right here on Thursday Things, my guest will be Tim Hayes. I don't have the thumbnail up yet, but they'll be coming up shortly.
Yep, Tim Hayes, great supporter of the channel. You've seen him in the chat. You've seen him in many chats. You've seen him in the chat for Midnight's Edge, for Retro Blasting, for all of those channels. So, give you a chance to get to know him.
He's another one that does a lot of blue wrenching, so
he's
it's
good
like, get
people.
to know your blue wrenches.
Get to know your blue wrenches, because they are valuable.
Yes.
They are like latinum. Treasure them. I don't remember which of the Ferengi rules of acquisition that is, by the way.
Gold pressed latinum.
Yes, exactly. But, yep. So that's our show for tonight.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. And then we'll do this again sometime. Well, like I said, check out Troy's channel tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Exactly.
So, Boomer, any last words?
Nothing. Tune in Sundays for Geeky Geezers. We are usually on time and here every Sunday, unless something happens. But usually there'll be something on the channel. I'll say this: Troy and I are very good about keeping our channels updated. I know even the other week when he had to be out of town, we did have a stream. It was just a pre-recorded one, but we had a nice movie discussion. The summer of '82, was it? Yes.
Oh, I gotta tell you. So the 1 week we recorded. We're talking about the summer films of '82.
Yeah.
We got more into the music of '82 the following week. Would you believe that last Saturday, that right after the stream, Netter and I went out to do our shopping and running around and stuff. Like every song that came on was a song from '82. Netter's like, I swear it's like they were listening to your video, and that's why they're doing it. It was
Oh, that's funny.
Kind of funny. Great little coincidence, but it also made me realize that chances are, even if the viewers aren't, old enough to know those songs originally, you've probably heard most of the songs we talked about that night. So there you go.
A lot of classics.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Other Side of Midnight. So
cool.
There we go.
And Big T, any last words?
No, I just want to say how much, once again, I appreciate all of you guys. Make sure you hit that notification bell and the thumbs up and do all the YouTube things. Very, very encouraging to us. And, look for us on Rumble too, because you can find all of our content there. And that's where we'll be if, this channel spontaneously combusts. Because that's what happens on this platform, apparently.
And as I mentioned earlier, if y'all are looking for some of those old PC games, DM me on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook under my real name. So Nanette is the first name. Last name's Pacelli. My picture is me and my mom sitting on a couch with my cat's eyes or his face right behind, as the banner. So it's the right one. Not that there's too many Nanette Pacellis out there. Although I did come across another one, so there's at least two of us.
There you go.
So yeah, let me know, and I'll see if I've got that particular game. If I do, you'll be the first one to be able to get it. And that said, y'all know what I always say at the end of every stream.
Yep.
We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat, and you're dropping the comments and questions and trivia and being goofy or wherever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company, having a great time. And you're not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys. We appreciate you so much. I mean, you can choose to be anywhere right now, and you're here, and that is so encouraging. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how encouraging that is. I'm currently at, I think it's 257 subs. Once I hit 275 subs, I'm going to be having a trivia contest right here on Thursday Things. So far, I've got about 7 questions I've come up with. I don't know if I want to go to 10 or to 15, so that will be coming up. So share out my stream, and as soon as I get to 275, you all get to win things. So I mean, that's really the purpose of me hitting milestones. It's like I hit a milestone, you guys get stuff.
Guys, we just had a Fat Steven raid. Arwen just dropped in. Fat Steven, Pacific 414.
Hey, Fat Steven.
Guys, thanks so
Arwen.
much. We are just wrapping up the stream, but you're here just in time to hear me say, guys, if you have a YouTube channel, or if you are migrating that YouTube channel to another platform, and you'd like to have a little sit down with Netter and talk a little bit about your channel, she is looking for guests for the coming weeks. So make sure you DM her. I'm kind of looking at Arwen, for example. She's been on my channel, and I think she would very, very much like to. Netter would very much like to have
Absolutely.
you
Fat
on
Steven,
her channel
I would
too.
love to have you on too, especially in light of what's been going on with your channel.
We
I'd
could
love to delve
totally
into
do
that.
an hour of
Yeah.
kind of getting it off our chest, and
Yeah, I'm currently looking at August 17th and beyond. So it's every Thursday, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. So it's like, if you would like to be a guest on my channel, I would love to have you. You can DM me on Twitter. It's Netters Network, no apostrophe in Netters, and no space between Netters and Network. And yeah, I would love to have you guys as guests. And it's like, I know there are other people that popped in, but I'd mentioned earlier in the stream, my contacts are letting me sometimes read and not.
this is even
not,
funnier. Not only did we just get a Fat Steven raid, but that means that Stephen Otten is there, like trying to. Oh, okay, gotta get all these links. Ah! So I can see his fingers like going fast. So thanks. Thanks, Deleted Scenes. You're awesome. Thanks, all of you that stopped in to encourage Netter, because you guys are just so amazing. And okay, you're committed now, Arwen. You're committed. So we definitely got to get you on over here again.
Okay, so Arwen, how do you feel about August 17th?
Well, why don't you guys DM? You guys can do
Think about
that.
that.
You could do that offline.
Yeah, it's like DM me on Twitter. We could talk about the dates, but I'm looking for August 17th and beyond. So
Deleted
if August
scenes.
is out for you, September's fine, whatever, I had one person that I had to put out like a month because of their schedule. So I don't mind scheduling you further out if you need time. Like I said, DM me on Twitter. Let's talk. And yeah, I'd love to have you on.
Awesome. All right, that's all I got.
Yeah, I think that's everything now. Just thinking. Yeah, I think that's everything right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll have the thumbnail up for Tim Hayes, my next guest, up as soon as my art director creates it.
All right, I'll get on
I
it.
gotta give him a raise or something.
Yeah.
And we will definitely see you all next time. Stay safe. We love you guys. And like I said, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.